Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to film a very long-awaited video, which is going to be how many books are unread on these shelves. I have 7 full bookshelves that you guys have probably seen now in quite a few other videos, and I need to know, 1, how many books are on these shelves, and 2, how many books of those are unread. So this is going to be a similar style to the bookshelf tour that I did a few years ago, I think now, when I was in my last apartment. So similar vibe, similar way of filming this. So I hope that you guys enjoy. And without further ado, post-editing me, I'm sorry because this is going to be most work for you. But yeah, other than that, let's jump into it and see how many books officially are unread on my shelves. All right, friends. Let's start it off strong. I have read in my lifetime every book that's on this shelf. I'm pretty positive. So this one is a fully read shelf, which starts us off strong with this many books. And now that all rapidly changes because this is the start of our unread shelves. So this is a section of nonfiction. I haven't read any of the books on this shelf, so let's rack up the new number. Moving down a shelf, this is again where I put all of my brand new releases, all the new books that I've picked up recently, and currently these are all unread, so new number is... Continuing that trend, these are all of my taller hardcovers that are new releases and or new books that I've gotten recently, so let's bump up that number. Moving down one more level, these are my paperback new releases or new to me books. This is of course the same, all unread, so here's the new number for that. And here is our graphic novels. None of the books on this shelf have been read. I'm looking, no, yes, a couple of these have been read, so let's update the number to this. And the last shelf, some of the books on the shelf have been partially read, like I've read halfway through these ones here. None of these have been completed, and I think a few on here have been, so here's the new number for this. All right, starting at the top of the second shelf, some of these books have been read, some haven't, so here's the new updated number for this. And then moving down, again, we have my continuation of nonfiction. None of these I think I've read. So let's update the number there. I'm going to go back and check on some of these after I film these, but we're going to make sure that all of the numbers are correct for you guys. Moving down, we do have a few books on this shelf that I have read, so here is the updated number for my shorter hardcovers. And then moving down here is my taller, unread hardcovers. Also, I'm obsessed with these little creatures that I got from Daiso. The little ghosties are so cute. Here's the new number for this shelf. And then moving down to my next continuation of paperbacks, all of these are, actually no, some of these have been read, like I definitely read at least at some point in life the Jenny Han series, as well as the Desired series, so let's update that number here. And moving down, we now have some of my middle grade. Most of these on this shelf are unread, so we will update this number here. And of course, now we get into my taller, like, I don't even know what to call this. This is kind of an amalgamation of just big bookshelves. So some of these I have read, some of these I haven't, so we'll update the number here. Moving on to the third shelf. I have read most of these on this shelf, particularly those felt ones in the middle, so here's the updated number for those. And then again, we move down to my continuation of my hardcover nonfiction books, so you guys can kind of see what those look like. And I have read a few of these on this shelf, so we will update that number now. All right, moving into this shelf. These again, some of these I've read, some of these I haven't, like a couple of the ones for some of the starts of the series I've read, but most of these are unread on this shelf, so we will update that number. Also, if you guys see these little post-its that are on some of my bookshelves, these basically just mean I need to read these books, because the more post-its there are, like this one, means the longer the book has been on my shelves and the longer I've gone without reading it, and it's usually been in like a 25 to read in 2025 backlist TBR for the year, so that's what those are if you're wondering. Same with like this one. All right, so this is my hardcovers, continuation of these. Again, most of these, let me look, I haven't read, any of these, so let's update that number. Moving down, we have, again, my continuation of paperbacks. All of these, I believe, are unread as well. Oh no, Cement Garden I have read. Very wild book if you've never read it. So let's update that number. All right, and continuing on, we have, again, my more middle grade books. Most of these I've actually read, surprisingly, as I'm looking at this, so let's update that number. And then now we move on down to my children's books. So most of these I have read in my lifetime, so that's a quick, easy read shelf. And let's update the number. These are getting increasingly hard to film because now I'm back behind my chair in the room, but these ones are a mix of read and unread, so I will update that number here. And then moving down, we again have a continuation of my there we go, of my nonfiction on this shelf. Some are read, some are unread, so here's the new number for including this shelf. Then we go down into what starts our mix of read and unread. Some of these have been read, most of them have not, so we'll update that number here. And now we move into where it starts getting to be a mix. Actually, no, all of these are unread. Never mind. So this is, again, a continuation of my hardcover, for the most part, unread shelf. And here's the new number for that. Okay, this is going to get increasingly more difficult to film, but here is the continuation of my unread paperbacks. You guys can see this is kind of a mix of not nonfiction, but like real life, romance, historical fiction, fantasy. It's kind of a spanning of the times, but this is the new number for this one. All of these are unread. Now we get into, this might be hard to film, okay, this is my continuation of my children's books. Most of these, if not all of these, on this shelf have been read, so here's the new number for that. Okay, this is going to be really hard to film, and I apologize if the sound is muffled, but this is my first double-stacked children's book section. I have read most of these on this shelf in years past, not all of them, so we will update that number here, but that is that shelf. If you guys ever wanted to know what it looks like behind my chair, this is what we're working with. But this is my other double-stacked children's books, and so these ones are same thing, some unread, some read over the years, so I will update that number here. And then moving up, we do have this one, continuation of middle grade. This one, again, is a good mix of read. I think most of these actually are read, so we'll update that number here. And then moving over, this is mostly read fantasy that I've had, just some favorite series from over the years. A lot of these, like I said, have been read. These two have not, so we will update that number here. This is, of course, my Throne of Glass. Beautiful, beautiful edition. I have a link to this video of me unboxing this somewhere on my channel, but this is, of course, very read and very beloved, so there's the number for that. Then we have my fantasy / Chronicles of Narnia, one of my favorite series of all time. Of course, I have read all of this, so I will update that number here. All right, moving on over, we have my Harry Potter / Aragon shelf. This is read, although my hilarious thing with my Harry Potter series is I do want to do a reread at some point in the future because I cannot remember reading anything past Goblet of Fire. So at some point in my life, I plan on rereading this series, and yeah, that's on the TBD for sure. And then moving down this section, this is some of my self-help books that I have. Some of these are read, some are not, so we'll update that number. And then moving down here, this is where we get these numbers to drastically start shifting because this moves into all of my read shelves. So these are my smaller hardcovers. Again, every single one of these on these shelves continuing are all read. Same with this, these are my taller hardcovers, books that I've loved and kind of are my favorites. I only tend to keep my favorite books on my shelves, so just to give you a snapshot of some from over the years, if you've been around for a while, ones that I've decided to hold on to because I really, really enjoyed them. I hardly ever reread books, so when I do keep something, it's usually more for the experience that I had reading the book the initial time. I don't really ever tend to go back to reread a series or a book if I really loved it. It's very rare for me, but these are some of my favorites. Same with here down on my shelf. This is, of course, my Bridgerton collection, along with some other series. Some of these are pretty old, if you recognize, like, this lovely series. But they're good ones that I always tend to go back to and just am glad to keep and have in my collection. Moving down one more level, let's see if I can get this all from a very weird angle. There we go. This is again my continuation of middle grade. Most of these on this shelf are a mix of read and unread because they're continuations from authors I loved as a child, so I wanted to read more of their backlist, but most of these are read. And then the weird one down here with all the cords is a continuation of children's books. It's kind of amalgamation of a lot of different things. Pretty much everything on this shelf, though, is read. All right, if you're keeping track, we are officially on the last bookshelf. Welcome. This is my favorite series of all time. Most of them are YA because I'm obsessed. But yeah, this is where those live. Of course, all of these are read. There are some on the very end that are cadence books that I have not, but we ignore those. That's the focus of this shelf. And then moving down, we move into some more classics. So in self-help books, most of these are cadence, so those are unread. And some of these are a mix of read and unread. And of course, my George R.R. Martin Song of Ice and Fire series. Need to read at some point. Okay, continuing on, all read. These are some of my favorite smaller hardcovers, series from over the years, favorite authors. I love these so much. So this is definitely a very read, very beloved shelf. Same thing with this one. This is, of course, some of my favorite books of all time, some of my favorite series of all time. This edition of Court of Mist, or no, not a court, of ACOTAR, so good. And of course, my little ghosties. We love to see them. So yeah, this, of course, all read. Moving down to this shelf, this is a continuation of all of my read fantasy / paperback editions. Some of these I actually really want to reread at some point in the future. Love these ones a lot. So yeah, love these ones, and these are all read. Moving down here, we have all of my graphic novels that I've read and love. Again, I'm very quick to judge on a graphic novel, but I do have certain ones that I really enjoy, which of course is this amalgamation here. Some of my favorites, of course, from over the years. My favorite one of all time that I've ever read is The Prince and the Dressmaker. If you haven't read it, 10 out of 10 would recommend. And then very last shelf here is my series of middle grade that I've loved over the years. Some of these are beloved, we'll never get rid of, but that is that section down there. All right, friends, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing how many books I officially now have and also how many of them are unread. I actually haven't even done the math for it yet, so editing me, let's give a little drum roll. This is how many books I have on my shelves and how many are unread. I already know it's going to be a massive number. I already know it's going to be crazy. So yeah, time to get cracking. I've got a lot of books to read and 2 months left of the year. So this is probably going to be a 2026 goal. To get this number down to something more reasonable, but we'll talk about that in January. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I am very excited. I think this is so fun. I'm so obsessed with these shelves and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, hopefully you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.